Good Friday evening, everybody. Welcome into the Philly Friday Frenzy with Big Al. A little earlier than usual. I'm not used to doing it when the sun's still out here, even later into the season. This is your first dual pack, double swing, double the pleasure, double the Al Friday evening show where I give you the Philly Friday Frenzy and the Fighting's Final. Trying a little different today. This is going to be a little bit of a throughout the season, depending on how the time of the game, how the game's going. It's going to be a little bit of a chemistry set here. The game's still ongoing. It's 10-1 Phillies right now. So I figured the Phillies are up pretty high. We're going to be able to talk about a lot of the action at the beginning of the game. It's been kind of on cruise control for a little bit here, but a lot of positives to be seen throughout the Phillies game. But we're going to also I want to talk about the Eagles. I want to talk a little bit about the Flyers tonight and their chances. I think we're sitting at like 27% chance of making the playoffs, but chip in the chair, I always say. So we'll keep our eye on that. But a lot of Eagles talk. The Eagles, Jalen Hurts, drama reinflates, ignites, whatever terms that the Eagles aren't giving him an extension this offseason. So this is a make or break for Jalen Hurts. Everybody's got an inside source. We'll talk about that. Get your thoughts on it. The AJ Brown future, I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit as well. The Phillies opening week, leading up till today, of course. Not as good as we would hope. Could have been a lot worse. Slow start, panic buttons being pushed. We'll mention that as well. And a little front office change with the Eagles. Just for those who are paying attention to the game, Aaron Nola is being pulled from the game right now. Pitched another good game, decent game. Didn't give up any long balls in a stadium that's very popular for it. So that's a positive. But overall, had a decent pitching performance, much better start than he did last year. We're gonna also talk about, are people overreacting? For the Phillies, for the Eagles, is it overreaction already? Are we overreacting for the Eagles before the draft even starts, before the team is even built, and the game even gets on and going, the season gets underway, whatever term you want to use, all those kind of things. All those kind of things that people overreact about, and we'll talk about all that. And are we overreacting 6 games into the season? Are we overreacting? Don't know. Probably, most likely, but welcome to Philly. So that's just the way it is. So, guys, like I said, it's an early start to the show. We're gonna keep talking generally about the Eagles, Phillies, and Flyers a little bit with until the end of this game, and then we will go into the Fighting's Final and cover the Fighting's Final to end off the show. So I'm excited. This is gonna be an interesting way of going about things. So this is a different way. My schedule worked out this way. I'm excited. So let's do it. Let's get into it. Are we overreacting? And the simple answer to every question is yes, we are. But we're also not being unreasonable. And what I mean by that is some of the complaints that people had about the Phillies, for instance, are reasonable complaints. They are reasonable complaints in the sense that it's a lot of the same problems we saw over the last 2 years, 2.5 years coming out of the gate. And, would have been nice to see them come out a little bit more like gangbusters. 3-3 is a lot better than it could have been 2-4, even 1-5. They could have won one of the games kind of down to the end, but the fight was there. A lot of people getting on people. I heard a little bit people complaining about, oh, Trey is already working on stuff this early, or somebody's doing that. I'm like, who cares? At least they're looking at it and they're saying, we need something to work. We have something we have to work on. We need to work on it. Will we prefer them lay back and just keep swinging for the fences and hope things will get better? And the answer is no. No, we don't hope that. No, we don't. We don't want that. We don't want anything to do with that. We want them to keep getting things better. So why are we upset when we see a guy go into the work on his swing, work on things to make your game better, yet When they don't, we get on them. Like that's where the unreasonable part comes in. That we get upset about, but that's okay. But would I prefer them come out 10-2, or or 10-0 and 9-2, 8-2, kind of like we did last year? Sure, but I'm also not freaking out. It's April 3rd, and we have people slamming that panic button. Is this team perfect? No. Is this team complete? Probably not. Is the team built enough to win a World Series? Time would tell. I mean, I can't say yay, but I can't say no. A lot of it depends. There's a lot of ifs in this Phillies team. You know, if should be spelled IPH right now because of how the Phillies team is built. There is a lot of ifs. I may open the phone lines tonight, Joe. I may. We'll see how this goes. I might open them sooner rather than later because I want to get in the Fightings final and I don't want to have the phone lines open for that. So I'll keep you up to date on that. It depends on how quickly this Phillies game moves. But the ifs are Justin Crawford, Andrew Painter, two big ifs. Can Kyle Schwarber do what he did last year? If he can do that what he did last year, if Bryce Harper can play more elite like or more clutch like what we've talked about, if the pitching staff can continue, if Wheeler can come back healthy. Phillies are through 7 now. Still up 10-1. A lot of ifs. A lot of ifs. And then the big, and that's something we'll talk about a little bit later. But let's talk about Jalen Hurts for a moment. Are we overreacting about Jalen Hurts? Yes, we are. Yes, we are. We are 100% overreacting about Jalen Hurts to a point. To a point. Is Jalen Hurts perfect? No. Does Jalen Hurts have holes in his game? Abso-freaking-lutely. Without a doubt. But what player doesn't have holes in their game? That doesn't need to get worked on. Now, the complaint is that he was holding up the progression of the offense last year. We all read the article probably more times than we wanted to. I don't think I learned anything really new from that article that made me say, huh, that I learned that, I didn't know about this before. I put a little bit on it, like, was the team hurt a lot? Yes. Was the team not, we had a young offensive coordinator who honestly was way in over his head and had no help from his coach. That's another problem. But I just don't get, like, I didn't learn anything new from this Phillies team that made me feel that something we didn't already know. But now, it's Jalen Hurts on the hot seat. I love the hot seat people. I wish half the people we talk like this walked into their job on a hot seat like this. It's ridiculous. Jalen Hurts can leave the Eagles right now. If Howie Roseman walked down from the office and said, Jalen Hurts is on the market, 25-ish teams would jump at the opportunity. And that is true. Jalen Hurts needs to be held accountable also. Everybody needs accountability. Accountability is what makes a good team great. That's what it is. And it's teams policing themselves, coaches policing players, players coaching, players policing coaches. It's all internal. Everybody needs accountability. You need accountability in your job. I need accountability in my job. Everybody needs accountability. Like that, again, no, I'm not bashing you, Joe. You're not wrong, but it's one of those cliche things. He needs to be held accountable. Yes. But when is he going to be held accountable for the good he did? Because he hasn't had that yet. He really hasn't had that yet. Even winning a Super Bowl, I mean, we forget, like, Donovan McNabb was loved all the way up to the end, and he really, had the same trajectory as the Phillies had lately. Got really close, got to the dance, fouled at it, kept chasing it, and just kept getting further and further and further away. That grip just got further and further and further away from what he was hoping to get. But the way we look at things, revisionist history is always different. I just think it's a little overkill how and you want to know why people want out of here. We get crazy that somebody doesn't want to be part of this team, and all those kind of stuff. But then we why don't they want to be here anymore? Why would you want to when everybody has a source, you know? And the source says that this guy's the problem. Source says AJ Brown's going to be he's gone. He don't want to be here. Yet the sources who should know haven't said a word. Not one iota about it. Even Howie Roseman has come from a top and said AJ Brown is an Eagle, right? Right. Good evening, Rob. What's going on, buddy? Hello. What's going on, Elephant in the Room, my friend? What's going on? Talking to you this morning on the other show we hang out on, but we have to look at things in perspective a little bit. I think we just get so carried away. We divide ourselves in some ways. We really do. We really divide ourselves. For instance, and I know I'm going to get heat from this one. Matty B, especially going to get heat. Like, he doesn't like when I point out when other teams, other players have struggles like the Phillies do, and I should just be happy that we're decent or good. But there was something said by Jason Stark on April 2nd that kind of I was looking at. I was listening to. I think he said on 97.5 The Fanatic. I wasn't listening to it, but it was something I saw on Twitter. He was giving some context of slow starts for teams in general, but the Phillies. He goes, his quote is, "I bet you never thought you would look at what seems like a good lineup and see the leadoff man hitting 167, the number 2 hitter hitting 174, the number 3 hitter hitting 136, and the cleanup hitter hitting 208. Then I'm going to tell you that it's not the Phillies lineup. That's the Dodgers lineup. Just remind you that it's not just the Phillies." So there's Jason Stark, a well-known MLB analyst. Put it into reference for you. We are not the only team that comes out to tough starts. 6 games into the season, we're ready to blow it up. I get why, though. And again, it's kind of like devil's advocate a little bit. I'm not saying it's unreasonable to be upset about things. I'm saying it's unreasonable how we act about it. I heard a lot this morning about, guys are, listen, we have an older team. Yeah, like a lot of our guys our age. Harper's up there. JT's up there. Turner's getting up there. Schwarber's up there. But, like, for instance, I'm a big JT fan. Everybody well knows that. I think JT is a, how do I put this? Kind of underrated catcher. His offense can be hot and cold at times. I'm not going to deny that. But from a catcher standpoint, a defensive catcher standpoint, a guy who calls the games, he is here because, A, the Phillies failed to find somebody else before JT was up to move on from JT. So Marshawn wasn't a guy. They traded away Logan O'Hoppe. And that's not even saying that if, he would have been able to call a game or be a catcher, like a maestro type catcher as JT is. But I think the other part people forget is that the Tommy John surgery to Andrew Painter also sent him back. Set the JT window back. They were hoping to get JT a little time with Andrew with a year or so. You need a savvy veteran catcher who's going to be able to call a game. You can't have a Rafael Marchand or a Garrett Stubbs calling the games in the big leagues. Maybe down in the minors you can get away with that, but in the big, especially when you're coming up, that's a whole bigger, different animal. It's like they said, you can't eat an elephant all in one bite. You got to take. You can't swallow an elephant whole. You got to take multiple bites and chew away at it. So him not coming up to the majors when they were probably hoping he would also was a reason that JT was able to get that contract extension. But I also think we underrate JT. Because when his offense is good, he's good. But if he's batting seventh, he's still got speed, and he's a 30-something-year-old catcher, a mid-30s catcher, and he still calls a game. I mean, I think don't look like we're just so angry. We don't know where to focus our energy, and we look at the little low-hanging fruit. Can we also Easter dinner meal near the end of the show before the post game? Easter dinner show. Right, Easter dinner meal. You want to tell me what you're doing for Easter dinner? Yeah, we can talk about what's your. Hey guys, you guys want to start throwing the comments? What is your key thing that you look for Easter dinner? Right? Maybe they don't always get for Easter. Maybe something that ma, grandma, aunt, uncle, something your wife makes that it's just usually only around Easter. Like for instance, my wife makes a pineapple stuffing, which you never thought would be good unless you're like, man, I like pineapple. I like stuffing. I just never thought I'd put those two things together. Very delicious. And she only really makes it certain times, and Easter's one of those times. So yeah, if you have something to throw in there, throw it in there. Hell, the Phillies are up 10-1. Absolutely, Rob. You feel JT's underrated too? I agree with you. And here we go. Is the frustration about the start of the season and only 6 games into a season, or is it a 500 games, a regime that once again doing the same thing? The same thing is not winning World Series. So, Matt, if you heard me earlier, that's exactly what I was talking about. I'm saying that the understandable that things are coming out slow and you're getting some stuff that were too reminiscent of what we had before. That's okay to be frustrated. Frustration's okay. The overreaction is ridiculous. This team still has some possibility. Would still have to make some guys would have to really step up, and they probably would have to make some trades at the deadline to make it a really possible World Series contender. But I get what you're saying. My frustration, I really thought Rob Thompson was gone this year. And again, I kind of like think about Andy Reid. You know, Andy Reid's a really good coach still to this day. He got Patrick Mahomes, and he went on a tear, and he's been on a tear for the most part ever since. Rob, even though he has success during the regular season, his postseason just falling apart is a problem. I thought his change was going to happen. I really thought with the way things were going, they had to make some changes, and a regime change would have been. I really thought Rob was gone this year. I really am surprised he's still here. Now they're doing this whole like we'll just wait to the midseason because like they had success with it one time where they changed the coach in midseason. They went to World Series. That's not going to happen all the time. I get the frustration. Yes, and it's been going on for a little over 2 years now, from Arizona playoffs 2023 all the way up until today. I get the frustration. It's the burn it all down, melt it to the ground. This team sucks. This team doesn't suck. It can suck at times, and it can be frustratingly sucky, but this team does not suck overall. Like, that's kind of where I'm going with it. It's not overreaction. It's coming to terms with reality. In April, there's a difference. Okay, but it's the same, like what way did you feel in April in 2022 when this team ran and got and got hot at the right time and went to the World Series? Like I said, we can't freak out in April. Now, if we were the Colorado Rockies, the Pittsburgh Pirates, you know, teams that are just bad from the get, it never seemed to get. That's understand. Those are the teams that should be freaking out in my eyes. Those are the teams that should be freaking out in my eyes. This team still has pieces of a championship style team. There is just not whole, and it is a change. And like we saw it a little bit just today. Today's a small sample size. A much more disciplined plate disciplined team from the Phillies. A departure from what they normally do. When they get frustrated, they swing. And they get wild. I'll give you an example. Even though they won this game, Brandon Marsh, the extra innings game, Amundo Soso had the game tying RBI, and then kept the game at tied with that amazing defensive double play he threw. That Brandon Marsh play, that he was at bat, there's a chance they could have won that game, and he goes in first pitch swings. I even commented it today. Lorenzo really struggles today. We'll talk a little bit more about this in to the final. But Lorenzo struggled. And the one thing, when a guy's struggling like that, you got to take a pitch or two. Make him throw you a strike. Force him, get him behind in the count, and force him to, just do, to make a mistake, to leave a ball in the middle. Then I saw, was it Alec Boehm? I think it was Alec Boehm. He came up and he just, first swing after, I think it was it Bryce Harper's home run? First swing, boop, in and out. Let the guy, he already just threw a meatball, and now he's frustrated, and then you just let him throw the first pitch, and you hit at it just to a bloop, ground roll, ground ball, and you're out, and you give the guy a little hope. It's just, that's my point. Maybe the Tommy John surgery was a blessing in disguise. I don't know if the Tommy John surgery was a blessing in disguise, but it definitely did slow down the catcher situation, which should have fast forward for them. So I don't know if it was a blessing in disguise. It's about burning it down. It's failing to recognize the issues and have held this team back on each of the last 4 years. There's nothing substantial of change for the fans to get excited. Okay, part of this stuff, I'll agree with you. And I'll tell you why after I read this. Square peg, round hole hasn't worked. What makes anyone think it will now work magically now? Again, I think this team has pieces. And those pieces, and I don't know if you were when I first went live, I used the Phillies 2026 magical word is if. It's a lot of ifs, and that's what makes it frustrating to me. They didn't take enough of the ifs out of play for the Phillies this season. What do I mean by that? They didn't. If what's his name? Bryce Harper. If Bryce Harper returns to his elite status, right? If Kyle Schwarber can play like we know he can hit like he can hit. If JT can play at the level we know he can play. If Justin Crawford can ascend to an MLB really good player. If Andrew Painter can be a really good pitcher to grow into something more than that this season. I'm saying just this season. If that is the problem. A lot of ifs that go in there. But there is possibilities. The Rockies don't have an if. They have nothing. Michael Lorenzen was their big signing. And you saw how that played out already this way. I agree. We should be frustrated with this team. We should be frustrated with the Phillies because there was no real big change or anything like that. But I'm just saying we're overreacting in 6 games to a season that hasn't happened. That's that's kind of where I'm going. I'm not saying you shouldn't be not happy with the changes that weren't made, but 6 games doesn't dictate what this team is. I know it's not Homer inspired or what have you if that happens or that happens type thinking. It's reality. I agree. I don't think you've hearing me. I'm not saying you're not wrong with being frustrated with this team. And the team is surrounded by too many ifs. But the possibility of those ifs coming, some of them coming true, can make a difference between a winning team. Even last year, this team was what it was last year, right? And if Zach Wheeler didn't have to end his season early and go have that thoracic outlet surgery and all that stuff, and we had Zach Wheeler, that could have been the difference between beating the Dodgers and not. So I'm saying there is pieces of this team that can be viable for a winning team, but that's if they can do it, and that's if when they make it to if they make it to the postseason, and if when they get to the postseason that Rob Thompson doesn't turn it on its head. It's funny while you guys were talking, my son delivered this to me. I got this in the mail. I had to order one. This is what they gave away, by the way. Let me take this down so you can see the whole thing. This is what they gave away or one of the not giveaway. This is one of the plushies they were selling, the rib plushies. And I said it's kind of funny because I guess it's supposed to be barbecue sauce up here, right? Or ketchup or whatever, but I would imagine barbecue sauce on a rib. Looks like a bullet one, like he took a shot to the head, but it's supposed to be ribs because they did all you can eat rib night for Zach Wheeler's first game at Lehigh. Now, Zach Wheeler's also supposed to be pitching 4 innings tonight. He's going to have a 60, 55, 60 pitch threshold, so that'd be something to keep our eye on as well. But I just wanted to show you this. I had to get one for my collection. If anybody knows, I have a lot of baseball stuff in my collection, especially minor league stuff, because I just think minor league have some of the most creative, fun stuff that they won't or they can't do with the majors. You know, they won't change the name of the team or something in that process. But back to where we left off from. I'm okay with that. I'm okay. I mean, I'm okay with people being frustrated or even just down on the team generally. But the negativity has it in the just acting like we're the only ones who go through a 6 games frustration. Now, granted, you'd be okay if the Phillies just won 2 World Series back to back. If this is the way they start, as I just read the numbers of the 4 or top 3 or top 4 rotational guys for the Dodgers. So there's your big difference as well. Winning does solve a lot of problems. So Wheeler would be helped out with the 1.79 runners in scoring position in the DS. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying is that even with the 1.79 runners in scoring position average in the DS, this team was still in it. That's what my point is. Even then they still had an opportunity. Again, it's being squandered because I think in the postseason the biggest problem, yes, the bats are cold, 100%. But turning everything on its head like Rob does is asinine. Like, why would things that were working got you to 90 plus wins? Was it 96 wins or whatever they got last year? Why would you change everything? That's what I'm saying. And by the way, just to keep you guys up to date, Phillies are up still 10-1. It is the top of the 9th right now. The Otto Kemp is at bat. They made a lot of substitutions. We'll go over that in the Fightins final, and we're going to touch on that. We are going to touch on that. I'm just saying it's just not that. I really wanted to talk more about Jalen Hurts, and the drama. And are you these? Everybody has sources that nobody knows about that comes out. And again, I don't know. Did anybody read the McManus article in the Fowler? Or I know it was a kind of a Jeremy Fowler to McManus collab article, whatever you want to call it. But did it open your eyes to anything that maybe you didn't know? Because in my eyes, I feel like I didn't learn anything new there. Nothing I knew from nothing I heard in that article, I should say, felt new to me, new to the Eagles' worries and the woes of the negative parts of Jalen Hurts. That's what I read. Yeah, Rob, but I that's the thing is I think it's always going to be there because we allow it a little bit, Rob. It's a little on us. You know, anytime somebody says, look at me, I'm sitting here talking about it right now. That means other people are talking about it, and everybody else is talking about it. And they're talking about it on the radio, and they're talking about it on TV, and they're talking about it on the national shows. You know, the drama with AJ and it's coming back up because Mike Vrabel says he's maintains a close texting relationship with Brown, which fueled the speculation because he texts a former player. I mean, that's asinine that people think that doesn't happen often. Next Friday, if you have to. Yes, Joe, absolutely. This game has moved faster. I mean, it was a 4:10 start. So if this game ends in the next 15 minutes, wow. Wow. It is moving pretty fast. Just look at this. Look at just some information. Gage Wood went 4 innings, struck out 7, didn't allow a run, and only 1 hit and walk in his 2026 debut for the Threshers. There's some pitching right there to look forward to. But again, like we allow the negativity to flow and swirl and whatever heck you want to say. But I mean, I just don't feel like I learned something new from that article that I didn't already know about the foibles of Jalen Hurts' game. Like, I don't think he's perfect quarterback in any which way, but I think he is a much better quarterback again that people give him credit for. And I know, oh, the defense was so good and the offense is so good, but you know, he is part of the winning process. Now, maybe he got a little cocky with his wins and his early career success. He doesn't think he needs to do anything. He doesn't need to change anything. I don't know. Maybe teams get frustrated. They weren't frustrated with Jalen when they were winning and they were steamrolling people and they won a Super Bowl, right? Now they kind of, even with a banged up team, had problems, able to still make the playoffs and all that stuff, which a lot of teams can't the following season. It's like I always say, like let's see how Seattle does with all the changes they had to make. Let's talk about that, Joe, because before the game goes final, I wanted to talk about the Flyers a little bit. Now, right now, as of right now, the Flyers' chances are slim, but mathematically alive, with advanced analytics giving them a 27.7% probability of making the playoffs. So they're in the wild card race. They're 2 points behind the Ottawa Senators for the final wild card position. In the Metropolitan race, they are 3 points behind the New York Islanders for the number 3 seed and 6 points behind the Pittsburgh Penguins for the number 2 seed. So you got some critical games coming up. Tonight, I mean, everything's a must win. Everything's been a must win. And that's the problem. The Flyers did back themselves into a corner in a must win scenario-ish, whatever you want to call it, situation. And that every loss, they got a little help last night, even though they lost. Other teams lost that needed to lose, so it kept them kind of in the fight a little bit more. But tonight's when they face the Islanders. It's that 7:00 game, so it's going to be a real crucial game tonight. So it starts off in about 20 minutes. I'm sure the way the Phillies are about over, this is great timing that you can just flip the channel over from the Phillies to the Flyers, which I know I'll be doing after the show's over. I'll be going watching the last part of the Flyers game. So it's the final head-to-head game against their direct rivals that are chasing each other. So that's very important. And they have a tough road ahead of them. Following tonight, they have matchups against the Boston Bruins, Carolina Hurricanes, and the Montreal Canadiens, as well as another one against the Red Wings, I believe, right? One more. I'm trying to remember. Yeah. So Magic analysts suggest the Flyers will need to win at least 6 of their last 8 games. That's a 750 winning percentage. Is it impossible? No. Is it against these teams? It's a tough ask. Is what I'm saying. To really secure a spot. But there's been a bit of a vibe shift with the Flyers team. I mean, Porter Marone has made his way to the Flyers. He was the signing of they signed them as top prospect. They were top prospect to his entry level contract. Definitely gave a little something for people, even if you were kind of like, this team's not going to win or go to the playoffs again. Gave you something to watch. You saw him get his first point the other night. That was really cool. It was a massive overtime win against Dallas. Kept them fighting. It's the team has had some really good momentum lately. It's made them exciting to watch, but it's kind of, if we're going to bring up what Matty B says, it's kind of the same old, like, they either came out like gangbusters and then came out at the end just a little too late, or they were on fire, looked like they could be making the playoffs, and they kind of fell apart at the end. But just too little too late was always the kind of the MO of sorts for the for the Flyers as of the last few years. They had some controversy with what's his name, Michkov, not playing lick of hockey or preparing for the season. Now, if there is any tiebreakers, so regulation wins is the first tiebreaker. It's the most critical category. So versus Ottawa as of early April, Senators hold the edge of the Flyers for the regulation wins. For Detroit, the Red Wings and the Flyers have been closely matched in this category. However, they currently have the lead, so we'll find out with the tiebreaker on that one. Then it's regulation plus overtime wins. So that plays a factor. But in end all be all is we need to outright do this. Like we can't come down to a tiebreaker. Because the tiebreakers, like a lot of the season tiebreakers, those scenarios don't fall in favor of the Flyers. My question to you is before we get into the Flyer or the Phillies post game, which could be sooner rather than later, could be one swing away for all we know. Do you want the Flyers to make the playoffs? Would you be excited for the Flyers to make the playoffs? Would you be happy the Flyers made the playoffs? I mean, I can tell you I would. I haven't seen Flyers playoff hockey in a very long time. And now they can go and get stomped for all we know. But, if they could make a push, this is kind of as playoff atmospheric as you can get. And I would like to see some guys get a little playoff time and see what they can do and see how they play under the bright lights. So I wouldn't hate it. I think Matty B would be exhausted. Him and Mike, yeah, give you guys credit. A yeoman's job here of what's it called? Covering all these Flyers games now with the Phillies playing, and it just I can just as limited as I have been, so I have to give you guys that love for being able to do that. But I guess playoff Flyers hockey would be just mean a lot more extra work for you. But right now, is it Zach pops up? Yep, he is up pitching. It's in the 9th inning. 1 out, 1 guy on first. So if everything goes well, this should end the not too distant future for the Phillies. But we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Rockies and the Phillies. And are you excited because the Phillies, beat a bad team? You're going to hear that a lot. The bad team. Looks like Pop. Did he hit him? Nope. Oh, he missed him. I thought he kind of made a sign that he hit him. But sorry, I know it's not good to watch and talk about it. But my point is do you want the Flyers to win? Do you want the Philadelphia Flyers to win, to go to the playoffs, or do you think they don't deserve it? Let them regroup and come back next year. Rob would like to see the Flyers make the playoffs. I mean, listen, I think most people should. And if you don't, you're a hater or just, don't think they deserve it. And I get that to a point, but it would be nice and maybe give them something to work towards next year. Let them know, like, let their hard work at the end kind of pay off. That's kind of how I look at things with the Flyers. But right now you're sitting about a little less than a 28% chance of making the playoffs. And, we'll see how that all happens. Joe thinks Pop gets sit down next week. Well, if Kerkering, the question is, if Kerkering, I think it's one more Lehigh Valley pitching performance. So, yeah, I think he's odd man out. I think he's sent down or whatever it is. But he did strike out for the last out. Phillies get a W, first win of the series, first road win of the season, a solid just thwopping of the Colorado Rockies. And with that being said, let's get into it. Because I got to switch it up here. I gotta bring up the Fightins final now because that's what we are here right now. We are ready to roll. What's with this yellowy mustard, man? Who put that color in there? Hold on 1 second on that one. Sorry about that, guys, but woo on that one. That better there, right there. I'll tell you what. Who put that one on there? Because it wasn't me, buddy. I'll tell you that much. But with that being said, let's get to it. right, everybody. If you don't remember, it's Big Al. I'm back. Here we are, fighting's final. Phillies win 10-1, moving to 4-3. Just a game over 500. I know who gives a shit about 500 this early in the season, but I do. So 4-3. That's nice. And it was a nice offensive outpouring, especially from our top 1 through 4 guys, because I think they needed it more than anybody. Today, Turner, Schwarber, and Harper and Bohm combined for 8 hits, 7 runs of the 10 runs, 2 home runs, 4 extra base hits, 6 RBIs, and a total of 16 total bases tapped by the 4 men. So talk about getting, off the schneid a little bit. Again, I know it's Colorado, it's the Rockies, they're not a good team. Lorenzen sucked today, but hey, this is the kind of games that get you back. 10-1 Phillies victory in Colorado. I guess because I think it was their home opener. They had their home opener against the Phillies. A lot of Mickey Moniak looked really lost out in right field with the sunlight tonight, because that kind of helped JT a little bit this afternoon and kept that everybody hits mentality going in the first inning. But and Rob Thompson, fastest manager of 350 wins in Phillies history. And yet we were talking not too long ago, wow, I was surprised he was still here. Welcome to Philadelphia. Only in Philadelphia would that happen. Like, maybe not only in Philadelphia, but it's more here often than not. But let's look at this game. Let's break it down. 7 runs of the 10 runs came in the first inning. Lorenzen, I think went. We'll go. Let's look at the pitching right here. Lorenzen, former Phillies. Right, last time we had a really big no hitter type time was Michael Lorenzen pitched for the Phillies. If those who don't remember, and then after that he just lost his gas. It's like he sold his soul to the devil for that moment in time. But 3 innings pitched, 12 hits allowed, 9 runs, all of them earned, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, 2 Ks, putting him up to a whopping 14.73 ERA. First loss of the year for Lorenzen. Then they bring their long guy in, Belozo. Went 6 innings, 1 hit, 1 run, 1 earned, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts, 1 home run allowed. So he was able to keep the Phillies, for the most part, in check. I look a little bit, you're on cruise control at that point, and just as long as you're not giving up runs. And Aaron Nola, let's look at the pitching here tonight. With a 3.18 to start the year after 2 starts, because he earned his first win of the year. He went 6-1 with 5 hits, 1 run was earned, 1 walk, 9 Ks. Looked pretty damn good today, if you ask me. I mean, again, does the contract match what I'm expecting? No. He should be pitching like an ace, or at least a 1B for what he's getting paid. But if he gives me a solid 3 pitching with a 2 quality, I'm happy, because he's not going to be a 3 guy. He's not going to be a 2 guy. He's a 3 guy. When Zach Wheeler comes back, he is a 3 guy. That is what he'll be pitching. Number 3 in the rotation. When Zach Wheeler and his rib comes back. For those who are just joining me, I got myself a Zach Wheeler rib plushie from the Iron Pigs store. My collection's wide and fascinating, and to the detriment of my wife. But that's the story of the pitching. Buckus came in, pitched 2 innings to finish up for the end of 7th inning for the Phillies, and to clean up the rest of the way for Aaron Nola. He no hits, no runs, no walks, 1 strikeout. He's a 3.15 ERA after getting kind of blown apart in that one game against the Marlins, or the Marlins, the Nationals. Sorry. Mesa came in, pitched 1 inning, 2 strikeouts, pretty good. He's still the 0 ERA at this point. And Pop came in with a 1 inning pitch. He let out 1 walk, but 3 strikeouts. So that was promising. In 9 innings pitched, the Phillies gave up only 5 hits, 1 run, which was earned, 2 walks, and 15 strikeouts. Every pitcher had a strikeout who came to pitch today. So only one had 1. Everybody else had multiple. Mesa had the 2, Pop had the 3, and of course Aaron Nola with 9 strikeouts. So I mean, that's one of those ifs I talked about leading into this show. If Aaron Nola was another if, can Aaron Nola be a solid 2 pitcher or a 2, a 3.18 ERA type pitcher? You know, it's the one day I'm okay. He gives up a long bomb. It's Aaron Nola. It's in what's it called? It's in Colorado, with the most, they can launch balls in outer space in Colorado, apparently. I mean, Brandon Marsh smacked the crap out of it, which we're going to talk about in a moment. We'll go through that. Let's talk about all the scoring, because there was a lot of scoring. So let's just go over the scoring. Excuse me, for your Philadelphia Phillies. Let's talk about this for a second. It all started with Alec Bohm singling on a line drive to center field. Bases were loaded at that point. Trey, Kyle, and Bryce are all sitting on base. 2 runs scored in the first with him. Bryson Stott comes up, adds a little bit, doubles there. Alec Bohm moves to third. Bryce Harper scores on it. 3-0 Phillies. Brandon Marsh decides to come up to bat and launch a homer for another 3 runs, and a long one out at that. 6-0 Phillies, still in the first inning. Trey Turner makes his way back around. After I told you JT had Mickey Moniak dropped that fly ball JT threw into the atmosphere and lost in the sun. Turner singles on a line drive. JT scores because he's still the best running catcher in baseball. I'm one of the best as far as I'm concerned right now. Still's got the wheels. So after all that scoring, it's 7-0 in the first inning. Kind of probably the guys probably got exhausted. It's like, fine, just get us out at this point. But didn't take long for them to get back on the schneid again. Bryce Harper, second home run of the season already. He always does seem to hit in bunches. So 8-0 with a solo shot to begin the second. Alec Bohm also singled on a ground ball. Trey Turner scores, made it 9-0 in the third. In the bottom of the fourth, the Rockies get the lone hit when Will Castro grounds out softly, and Moniak scores, making it 9-1, and that would be all the scoring they would do. Kyle doesn't like odd numbers. Kyle Schwarber doesn't like odd numbers. So he goes, you know what? Let me get my 3rd home run of the season in 7 games on a rocket to right field, 10-1 for 460 feet. 460-foot home run by yours and your everybody's favorite home run hitter, Kyle Schwarber. I mean, it was a cruise control game. This was a good Friday afternoon. And I know it is Good Friday, but this was a good Friday, a good afternoon game. You come home from work, maybe you got out a little early, got out of work a little early, was able to go and sit down and enjoy the game, because that's kind of why I'm doing this the way I am now. Before, I wasn't thinking about doing this till later and doing the show and everything later, but I'm like, I'm sitting here, I got home out early. I'm like, the game's kind of on cruise control. Let me start the show and talk about what we want to talk about and get into this. But, this was needed for them to feel confident and for us to feel confident in the team a little bit. This is a confidence building game, because I think it was last year they went to Colorado and they didn't either. They did really well and they left Colorado, went to San Fran, which happens again, by the way. They always seem to go to Colorado to San Fran. That's going to be a big question. Can the Phillies stay off that whatever Philadelphia problem they have in San Francisco against the Giants? Can they do it? That's always going to be something. So that'll be something we look about into next week. A lot of late games for those who want to stay up late. Right now, Matty B's on the coverage for it. I'm trying to let him get me that Tuesday night game. He is not budging on that Tuesday San Francisco late night game. I don't mind staying up a little late, but as you know, here's your lineup right on Friday. Tomorrow's Mike Ularo. Sunday is Matty B, and Matty and Mikey will be taking you in the Philly AM Sports going into Sunday, because with it being Easter, I have some family plans I couldn't move around. So I will not be on this Sunday. That means you won't get me back till either Tuesday if Matty gives me the show on Tuesday, or if not, Friday. And then next Sunday, I'm going to have some graphics and report out when I confirm my guest to talk a lot of Eagles draft for the next Sunday Philly AM. But that is your coverage right now. So let's look at it in total because the box score moved a lot because they brought some guys in. Trey Turner went 3 for 4 tonight with 2 runs scored, an RBI, and a strikeout. It moved his average up to 267, so got him out of the basement a little bit. Mundo Sosa came in for him and only had 1 at bat, but nothing to show for it. Kyle Schwarber, he was 1 for 3 tonight with 2 runs scored. With 2 runs scored, 1 RBI, 2 walks, and a strikeout, moving up to 200. Harper was 2 for 3 tonight with 2 runs scored, an RBI, and a walk, moving up to a 179. Dylan Moore came in as a pinch hitter for him, and I guess give him a break because they know they have to go tomorrow. Bohm went 2 for 5 tonight with 1 run scored, 3 RBIs, and a strikeout, moving him up to 154. Stott was 2 for 5 tonight with 1 run scored, 1 RBI, 1 strikeout, moving him to 250. Garcia was 1 for 4 tonight with a strikeout. He's at 308, still one of the top hitters on the team right now. Kemp was 0 for 1 with his when he came into left field. Marsh moved from left to right when they brought in Kemp. He went 1 for 5 tonight, but with a towering home run. Just clobbered the hell out of it. Here's a guy everybody wanted to chase out, but he was 1 for 5 with a run scored, 3 RBIs tonight, and a strikeout. He's batting at 320 right now. Him, Crawford, and Garcia are only team players in 300 right now. Now, again, it's early, but take it for what it's worth. Jay Trimuto had 1 for 4 tonight with 1 run scored. He moved up to a 2.11 ERA. Batting average. And Crawford didn't have a great day today. He was the only one to go for a big but he still average of a 333 with a 745 on-base percentage. For 40 total at-bats, the Phillies mustered up 10 hits on 13 runs, 10 RBIs. 10 runs on 13 hits with 10 RBIs, 3 walks, and 9 strikeouts. Colorado was only able to get a bat at 32 at-bats with 1 run on 5 hits, 1 walk, or 1 RBI, 2 walks, and 15 strikeouts, as I said earlier. It was good to see with the runners in scoring position. They were 5 for 10. That's what we like to see. Does this mean this is what's going to happen moving forward? No. Is it a bad team? Yes. But is it something that they can work on? Absolutely. That's how I look at things. I look at, I try to see what this team can build off of. So as we look at this, we had good pitching performances all around. We had the top 4 guys, as I said earlier, combined for 8 hits, 7 runs, 2 home runs, 4 extra base hits, 6 RBIs with a 16 total bases tapped today. So everything we complained about, we wanted to see. So, they just had to work their way through it as of right now. Let's see if they continue because, like I said, that big test is going to be San Fran. This team, Phillies, I don't care who's in the uniform, always just struggles when they go to San Fran. I don't know what it is, what voodoo it is that they have. Let's look right here. This is your lineup right now leading into Easter Sunday. So you still have your post game tonight for the Flyers and Islanders, which is just starting now. Big game tonight. It's pretty much no options to lose tonight for them. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. Let's see here. Sorry. Comment came up. I missed it. It's important to find a doctor that you trust to help properly manage your diabetes. That is, Wilford, that is 100% correct. I am a man who has diabetes, and I have found a medicine that can help me manage my diabetes, that with diet and exercise. But thank you for your kind words and your always looking out for others. But guys, let's take a trip down the old Broad Street bottom line. All right, guys, Broad Street Bottom Line. So for those, again, I'm only going to do this a little bit longer, but for those who are new to the show, Broad Street Bottom Line is pretty much our bottom line from today's game, the 10-1 victory over the Colorado Rockies, putting them 2-5 and put the Phillies at 4-3, moving to, I guess they were in third, or were they moving to third? Third in the NL East. But it was an all-around what you want. No complaints kind of game. Top four guys hit. Put up 10 runs, 7 of them in the first inning. Aaron Nola had a really good game. The bullpen kind of went on cruise control as everybody else did. Some guys got chances. Dylan Moore got a chance to come up today and play a little bit. Sosa, so Kemp too got a little time in playing. So ultimately, this is exactly what you want from this team. I mean, I don't know what else you could ask for. Broad Street bottom. Joe Hale's Broad Street bottom line is Turner, Harper, 3 for 4. My Broad Street bottom line is, I said it a bunch of times, the top four guys combined for 8 hits, 7 runs, 2 home runs, 4 extra base hits, 6 RBIs, and 16 total bases tapped today. It's exactly what you want. But the other thing else becomes just extra sauce, little extra chocolate sauce on a sundae type situation, icing on the cake, whatever you want to call it, just in time for the diabetes conference to be talked about. That's right. So, Broad Street bottom line is this was a significant win, a change from the first 6 weeks where the offense looked anemic. I know what you're saying. Yes, it's Colorado Rockies. Sometimes you need a diving off board. Let's see if this can continue. I think somebody said it already. Joe Hale said it. Tomorrow's starter was warming up in the bullpen in the Rockies bullpen. So that's right. Tomorrow's starter there. It looks like they're doing a bullpen style game. So your guy Michael Lorenzen came in. He asked the bed. You had to move to your long guy, and now you still have a bullpen game to go. They were pretty much waving that white flag after the first inning. If you think about it, after the first inning, they scored 6 runs. They said, I'm sorry, 7 runs. They said, white flag in this game. That's got to be pretty tough for a Colorado Rockies fan or a fan of any game. That, I mean, if your team's a good team and you're like the Dodgers, if they just get thumped one day and having to sit there, you went home opener, you spent money, you came out, you're having a good old time, had a couple of brews with your friends, and then bam, the opposing team puts up 7 runs. And the team's waving the white flag already. Yeah, that's got to be disheartening. But bottom line is, big win, great performance by your pitcher, Arnola, who's an if. Great performance by your top 4 guys, who are all ifs. And today, just today, those ifs were answered in a good way. So, in my eyes, that is really good. But let's take a trip. We went down the Broad Street bottom line, but let's go around the bases. Again, for those who are new to the show, Around the Bases is a moment where we take a look at the scoreboard for today for Major League Baseball. Now, because we were an early game on a Friday, probably not too much going on as of right now. But on April 3rd, currently going on 3-3, bottom of the 6th, Tampa Bay and Minnesota all tied up. Later tonight to go down, 9:38 p.m., Seattle, Los Angeles, and Los Angeles Angels in Los Angeles playing at 9:40 p.m. So we got a 38 start and 9:40 start. Houston Astros take on the Athletics in Sacramento or wherever the heck they are. 9:46 game to keep your eye on. It's the Apple TV game, so you may want to look at this one, see how things play out. The 5-2 Atlanta Braves are taking on the 3-4 Arizona Cardinals. On Apple TV, it's a 9:45 start. So if you're looking for a little baseball to watch tonight, and you want to maybe put it on your phone if you have Apple TV while you're watching the Flyers up on the big TV, there you go. 10-10 start. The Mets are in San Francisco. Both teams sitting at 3-4. It's a 10-10 start. Something to keep your eye on. You got your team you're about to play and the team that you want to keep behind you. Right now, better than the Mets. Like I said, I'm not tooting my own horn right now. The Marlins and Atlanta sitting above us, of course. We'll look at. I'm really not going to touch too much for those that are new, right this early on the standings, but that's where we're at. Final for the day: Dodgers put a beating on Washington, 13-6. They are 5-2 on the season, and Washington moves down to 3-4, and that's why we are in third place. St. Louis lost, just put up a donut against Detroit 4-0. Detroit wins that. New York Yankees beat Miami 8-2, knocking Miami down to 5-2. San Diego loses 5-2 to Boston Red Sox, and Chicago White Sox, that is, in extra innings beats Toronto 5-4, and Cincinnati beat Texas 5-3. Chicago Cubs lost to Cleveland 4-1. As you know, the Phillies beat the Colorado Rockies handily 10-1. And Pittsburgh Pirates beat Baltimore 5-4 and postponed. I don't know if it's due to weather, but the Milwaukee Kansas City game was postponed today. Oh darn. Milwaukee's 5-1, Kansas City's 3-3. Again, your records don't mean as much as you are just yet. Pirates are the same as the Phillies at 4-3, and they won tonight. I believe their shortstop, their number one prospect, all Major League Baseball, had a start today, so they beat the Orioles. So that was probably a nice little pick me up for the Pirates fans. Don't get used to it before the guy gets traded to the Yankees. That's all I got to say about that. But that is your trip around the bases. Again, it's brought to you by the great people here at the It's a Wrap Sports Network. Giving you all this Phillies, Flyers, Eagles coverage that you beg for from us, right? Tomorrow's game, April 4th. It's an 8:10 game. That's right. It's an 8:10 game. It's 5 o'clock their time. So let me see what they have. Right now, I didn't ask for tickets. I love when they show me the tickets. I don't want tickets. Don't show me tickets. Come on. Sorry, guys. I usually have this teed up, but the computer is running a little slow. Come on. Where is it at? It had all the stuff with all the, I don't know. Try and get the name of the information for your starters tomorrow. But for whatever reason, the website is being very wonky. Let me try one more place. If I click on tomorrow. April 4th. Here we go. So it's Jesus Luzardo going on to the guy that was warming up in the pen at the end of the game, kind of loosening up, I guess that was. At 8:10, so it's supposed to be a bullpen game. That does smell good for the Phillies, hopefully, moving forward. We'll find out. And then it'll be Walker with his whopping 11.57 ERA on Sunday, going against Rockies right-handed pitcher Sagano with a 1.93 ERA. So that's gonna be a tough win. It's gonna be a tough one from Walker. Needs a bounce back game on that one. But guys, overall, a little different layout of the show. I usually go an hour, and I'm a little over an hour now, so that's good. We got the Fightins final in. We covered a 10-win cruise control, lay back, put the recliner's legs up, grab a nice glass of your favorite brown liquor, and just sit back, relax, chill, and enjoy the afternoon. Type game win for the Phillies. Hopefully they can continue to roll. Thank you, Joe. I know it was a little clunky, but I was trying this new format. Like, I don't know if I can do it during a game a lot, because if it's a close game or something, games where they're either getting blown out or blowing somebody out, it's a little easier. I thought, we could start talking about the Eagles and general Phillies conversations. Tell me if you like it. Message me off the air, and I'll try to. I'm gonna, with the Phillies and the fight, and today I thought was going to be the Fightins final was going to be later with me when I do my 9 o'clock show and mix it into that, right? But I just saw how the game was going. I got out of work early. I said, let me try this. So maybe I can try this again. We'll see. You guys let me know how you feel. Start this a little early, get the Eagles Phillies conversation going. Kind of follow along on the show or on the game on during the show. We'll try different things. I'm trying to figure out how we're gonna play this out. I have a couple different ideas, all seem okay in my brain, but time will tell. But other than that, guys, thank you for joining me on this early one. It's 7:15. You get to go eat dinner and not have to sit here and wait another couple hours for my mug to come on your screen. So thank you as always. I will see you guys next time. Um, Go Phils, ring that bell. Big win tonight. And stay tuned for your Flyers post game show just a little bit later with Maddie B. So enjoy that. I know I'll be watching. Oh, happy Easter to you, Joe. Happy Easter, you guys, and your family out there, because I won't be seeing you Sunday as I used to. Thank you for reminding me that. See you all next time.